Hey, what's up, everyone? Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. In this episode, we're going to take a look at a piece by the AI generative artist Diffusion Dreams. And in this episode, we're going to talk about this one-point perspective here. We're going to talk a little bit about harmonious near symmetry, and then we're also going to talk about the profound palaces of the psychedelic dreamscapes. Let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this piece, you're met with this one-point perspective here. And this, of course, is set very straight in the center. And one-point perspective, one of the most iconic scenes or point of view that's normally chosen to depict large scale settings here. And so we see that quite masterfully. And of course, one point perspective always converges to a singular vanishing point. So if we were to mark that, be about there. Of course, not perfect, about right there. So that is the vanishing point. And of course, you'll see all edges of pretty much every set of geometry here follows that vanishing point down in that one point perspective. We also see a near symmetrical spatial composition here, and this really works really quite well with the one point perspective because of course we're standing quite at the center axiom which it is reflected across. So that near symmetry is really important, and that also works with that one point perspective quite well. And near symmetry, of course, always gives us a harmonious visual experience. So it always gives you a sense of a scene or a sense of balance and order. And so that also kind of hints at the divine degrees within this piece as well. And so speaking on that note, you see us, we're standing within this palace here. And it's a very kind of dreamy, very abstract, very surreal palace here. It may remind some of kind of the liminal spaces. Of course, you have these pillars here, but the palace is quite grand. It's very ornate, it's very detailed, and it's even giving us these kind of degrees of divinity within here. And whenever we talk about the palace itself, it really feels extremely divine. And so I think that's also really important to note. And so you'll also see this kind of painterly aesthetic within the piece, and that's really characteristic of almost all AI art as a whole, but it kind of morphs and it flows within each other, almost like visible brushstrokes if it were quite literal. And so that painterly flow, it gives this piece a lot of energy, and it almost feels as if the piece is alive right in front of us. So it gives this piece a really good definition, a very dynamic visual experience, and a very energetic. It's quite interesting because they have that juxtaposition. You have the near symmetrical harmony or the near symmetrical balance juxtaposed with the painterly flow, which of course gives that sense of energy. So there's that unique contrast working on there, but working together and going on there, but it's quite incredible looking at this piece. And so we also see this kind of cosmic ceiling up here in the top. And so you'll see it set on kind of that midnight black background there, and that of course is the perfect neutral backing to allow the emphasis of these kind of glitch colors to the highest degree possible. And I wouldn't say that this is exactly a piece of glitch art, but I do feel like there are some type of screen tear effects up there that does feel reminiscent of some of the pieces we see from glitch art. But regardless of that, it is a very, very cool kind of cosmic ceiling up there, kind of crystalline textures, very, very nice. That really drew me in, of course, with this stunning color, this kind of pinkish purple there. That pink, purple, blue mixes with those striking red tones there at the top. Just create a very dynamic, a very psychedelic, a very surreal and dreamy visual experience there. And so with that in mind, this does feel very psychedelic, whether it's that kind of morph and flow or whether it's kind of the fractal scapes that many people refer to. And this also feels very reminiscent of what people refer to as fractal scapes or kind of machine scapes, or these worlds that are created. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people note that, and if you've come in contact with some of the shamans of South America, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so this piece was created, of course, in a AI generative program. I believe it is Disco Diffusion. I'm not 100% sure, but this piece is coming from Diffusion Dreams, so I think he does draw some inspiration in his name from that. So with this in mind, AI generative art, originally it was underrated, it was overlooked, even dismissed by many people, but now I would say with the catalyst of the release of DALL-E 2, people are seeing some of the most advanced AI art in the world. And so with that, everyone's discovering AI art at the moment, whether it's the fascination with DALL-E 2 or whether it's them further exploring and seeing much more things like Dream by Wombo or Mid-Journey or anything. All these programs are quite profound. And so with pieces like this, we see that painterly flow, and then if we compare that to say pieces by Dolly 2 is much more high resolution. And so some people like that kind of stylistic variation. I was actually just talking to Dejected Duplicate the other day, and the artist was mentioning how they actually prefer pieces not created by Dolly 2 because it's very stylistic in the way it creates that flow. So I think that's also really interesting to note as well. So like I said, this piece is coming from Diffusion Dreams, and this artist is an AI generative artist, also a coder as well, a career software developer, and just some incredible art coming from this artist. And so we actually showcased 2 other pieces from this artist, but I do not have it today because I couldn't really draw any specific kind of connections to each one. What I could draw was kind of that painterly flow or aesthetic of AI art, but we did mention that already. So if you guys want to check out some of the other pieces we've done, I believe this is the 3rd piece we've showcased from this artist. Go check out some of Diffusion Dreams' other works. Like that, like I said, the artist works with a lot of divine things and a little bit of dark aesthetics as well. So whether you like both or whether you like one or the other, you're definitely going to find something you like. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.